Cricket is my passion and I cannot avoid it. Assalamu alaikum, good evening, namaskar, sat sri akal. Welcome to all of you to another episode of Cricket Unplugged. With the Asia Cup starting today, rather the qualifiers starting today, we have two stars who are with us in the show. One is Karam Khan, has played for the men's UAE cricket team. And then we have Charvi Butt, who has also captained the women's UAE team. So discuss about UAE, how they are going to go about their campaign in this Asia Cup. Welcome to both of you guys. Welcome Khurram first.
Thank you. Nice to be in the show. Thank you, Anis bhai.
Welcome Charvi.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Yet again, an absolute pleasure to be here with you.
Well, the pleasure is all mine, having two captains of UAE team, and you all have done so well for your teams in your days. So let me come to you, Khurram. This Asia Cup, this is a golden opportunity for UAE before the big World Cup where they've already qualified.
Assalamu alaikum. Yes, Anis bhai, I think it's a wonderful opportunity because if they manage to win the first part of this tournament, they'll be, locking their horns with the giants of international cricket, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. So I think it's a wonderful opportunity. Recent past teams been doing well, so I think we can keep our fingers crossed. There are chances definitely that they can qualify and play the big teams.
Charvi, let me come to you. There are four teams who are going to lock horns against each other to then, go ahead and clash with the big boys. That is Hong Kong, Singapore, Kuwait, and our UAE team. How do you see UAE team when you compare yourself to the Hong Kong, Singapore, and Kuwait team?
To be very honest, I won't be sugarcoating this, but as directly as I could say this, and I think Khurram will agree with me as well, that I think UAE has got big chances. They've got a very, very good chance to make it to the next level. It's all about in that moment, making sure that they grab that opportunity, and on that particular day that they play their best on all the games, on all their games, game days that they're going to be playing in. Because UAE team in the recent past has done exceptionally well. The amount of exposure that they have gotten, also with the foreign tours, they will have their chips up on their shoulders. So hoping to see at their best in all their games.
All right. Charvi says UAE team has been doing well of late, but I want to ask Khurram, in the last recent trip now to you, where they lost to Scotland and USA, they couldn't win a single game. And in the earlier, they won 2 out of 4. So even though that was a 50-over game, will that be at the back of the mind, Khurram?
I think you have to say, these losses, they're always back of your mind because you recently concluded this 50-over tournament. Conditions always, in Scotland, they're not that easy. I would have suggested them to be there a little earlier, at least play 2-3 side games before they get into these main games. Because now that WCL is very important, where UAE team is currently positioned, I think it's going to be quite tough to qualify. Obviously, it's not that they cannot, but it's now 3 or 4 teams which are going to be on same point level. I can see Namibia, I can see USA, UAE. I think they'll be locking horns to qualify for the 1 or 2 positions for the WCL. Coming back to Asia Cup, obviously it's a 20-over format. It's completely different. And if you see recent past, I think UAE been doing very well. There are some, players who've been exceptionally well. I would say Vritia, I would say Wasim, batting. So it looks a great team. And we recently have a change of captain as well. So Rizwan CP is leading the team. So let's hope, it's going to be a good change. And let's see the results. Yeah.
Charvi, have you seen CP Rizwan playing, or have you followed his cricket?
Multiple times. Over the years, yes, in the domestic league, covered a lot of games over live streaming while he was representing, the domestic sides. So seen him play for over the years, and I think this is going to be a great platform for him as well, and a testing one to that, to see how he's going to showcase himself as personally with his skill, also as a captain, how he's going to lead the side. So it's going to be, time will tell how he's going to do, but hoping that, both the tags that he's got on his shoulder, they bring back a good result for the side.
All right. Charvi says CP Rizwan should be able to do the job. But Khurram, I want to come to you. Under the earlier captain, Ahmed Raza, they had qualified for the World Cup in Oman, where they beat everybody almost there. They beat, I remember the big team Ireland, and they beat Oman. They beat almost everybody, barring one game I think they lost. And now the sudden change in captainship, even though we are just near the World Cup, right call made by the management?
I think it's a little question mark here, because if you see Ahmed Raza's results in T20 formats, I think when I was checking, he's played 27, 118. So this is not a bad result at all. It's been very good. And they have removed him from captaincy from T20 version, although the team just came back from Scotland not doing very well. So I think I'm kind of mixed up. I don't know why it happened. The change is that the performance UAE just came back was 50 over, and then they retain him as a captain for 50 over, but they replaced him for 20 over format. I don't want to go into blame game, but I think there are a few things UAE needs to sort out, because team currently, if you see that they are kind of stagnant in the position, you don't see them going up. You see, performance for a short period of time, a month or so, or 15 days, you see they suddenly start playing good cricket, and then, it's just coming back. So I think there are a few things need to be fixed there. First of all, I would say the vision for cricket board, that where they wanted to see their team and what they are doing to do that.
Khurram mentioned about Ahmed Raza's record, 27 games, 18 wins. And with the Mega Event World Cup just happening in 2 months' time, and the Asia Cup just happening in few days' time, you're replacing the captain, giving the right signal?
Maybe not, to be very honest, because when you have a certain consistent captain, the team is used to that, the method in which you play, the strategies in which they are formed, and there is a certain understanding between all the players that, okay, he's the captain, and they know their style, they know the captainship style. The moment before such a big event you change the captain, a lot of things, they start to get confused within the squad, and which is not right in a way. To be very honest, why CP Rizwan before such a big Asia Cup and a World Cup to come up is a question to be asked. If UAE qualifies, do they come back to Ahmed Raza for Asia Cup? But again, you're confusing the mindsets of within the squad, which you need to have some consistency in. Ahmed Raza has been consistently captaining the side for so many years now. Leave him at his position. He knows his job. He's got 18, and that's not a bad number. It's a good number of wins in comparison to the matches that he's played. And I agree with Khurram, because we both have been in similar situations where, the switch instantly happens before a major tournament. It's not justified. Rather, you ask me, we would rather stick to the same, have some consistency. Teams win with consistency, not with switches like such big ones.
What I fear
Go
here,
ahead, Khurram.
Yeah, I think more than his captaincy, probably what I think, okay, I could be wrong, that his position could be, in under T20. That could be maybe, a question for board. That's why I think they took that decision now, since he's now captain. It's probably be easier to, play a left-arm spinner, whether they should be representing all the matches or not. So I think they're coming from that point of view. So let's see.
Right. So Khurram says probably maybe they are not sure about whether he can guarantee a place for himself in the squad. They will place Rizwan. Now, tell us more about Rizwan, Khurram. You know him more closer than anybody else.
I've seen him domestic. I think he's a wonderful batsman. He's a beautiful classic, batsman, what I have seen over the years from him. And he's, although we have seen him bowling in tandem not regularly, but he's useful bowler. I've seen him bowling sometime, and he always takes wickets. So, but what's currently and what's recent past, if you go, I've seen is that these bowlers like Basil is bowling, and then CP is bowling. So they are bowling 1 or 2 overs in a T20 match. So if you have 2 batsmen who can bowl 2 over each, if they're bowling 1 or 2 sometimes, so why can't they bowl 2 over each? And then you have a place for a batsman to be included in the team. I personally think that's how the board is looking at the team currently now. So if they exclude one of the spinners, they can add another batsman, another all-rounder in the team. Obviously Ahmad is mainly a left-arm orthodox, so they can put a more batting dominant player in the team.
All right. Charvi, we discussed about it, that of late their 50-over performance was not up to the mark. As much as I would love to discuss about the 50 over, but I still want to go on to the 20 over cricket. UAE's record in T20 has not been bad. I mean, I'll be very honest, compared to the teams which has been, playing like the Omans and all, UAE has been doing fairly well. And that is one format which they love to play, if I'm not wrong. So if you had to, pick a few guys who you feel will be the guys who would be your players to watch out from UAE.
To be very honest, I'd pick two. One, Vritya, for sure. And the other would be Sultan. It would be one of those two of those who would be to look out for. Vritya's form we've seen over a period of time. A very, very promising youngster. He's not, yes, he's got a few performances where he's not done very well, but at the same time, he's also, he hasn't failed to impress. There have been times when he's really impressed. He's gone out there, stood out there for his side, gotten those runs, and, taken the team to the other end just with his own ability. So obviously we do know what he is capable of. And Sultan would be another player that I would be looking at, because of the experience that he comes along with.
All right. Kuram, I know about Vritya, that is a one-down batsman and he's done recently well. On and off, he's had poor scores. But tell us more about Sultan Ahmed.
Sultan mainly, I think, is included in the team. What I think is for his left-arm spin. Obviously, he can hit a few balls as well. He can score some runs as well. But mainly, it's bowling. If you see at Ahmed Raza, let's say, compare. So for T20 version, I think Sultan has played. He's been represented PSL. He's within all the leagues in UAE. So he's very seasoned player and left-arm batsman again. But he doesn't only spin the ball, he's got a good straighter one. I think it's probably more useful in shorter version. That's why they have included him. Another player, as I think Shavi mentioned, Vritya once, that he's great. But I think Wasim Ahmed in T20, Wasim is very important. He's, two players who can win the games for UAE. That's how I look at it, I think. Wasim and Vritya.
Wasim, you're talking about Mohammad Wasim is the guy who scored the 100 in the finals against Ireland, right?
Yeah. I think
so apart from Vritya, Wasim, anybody else in the batting order, Khurram, you see them, doing well?
I think batting order, if you look at now, I think it looks, let's say, the middle order is quite strong. But recent, I would say, since they haven't performed very well in Scotland, but again, going back that it's a 50-over version and there's completely different conditions. Now they'll be Oman and UAE, I think it's similar condition. So they'll be playing back here and they have played a lot of cricket in Oman. So I would say, captain CP Rizwan, again, I think he'll probably be changing his number since he's captain now. And Basil is there, another middle order. Chirag Suri, I think a wonderful pair. And I think it's time that he needs to, stand up and do again very well. He recently, in Scotland, he didn't do that well as I would have expected him to do. So hopefully this tournament, I think it's for him another chance to prove himself.
Charvi, like Khurram mentioned about a few players, and I just recently interviewed Sikandar Raza, who was in the form of his life in his recent matches against Bangladesh, as well as the qualifiers for the World Cup. He mentioned a very important point that if you are able to play red ball cricket, then you can do well in the white ball cricket. You also added that if you play 50 overs cricket well, you can do well in a 20 over cricket. So what is wrong with the UAE cricket team that they are not able to consistently do well in 50 overs cricket?
Perhaps it's the lack of 50 over games that they play through the year. Okay, I think Kuram agrees. It's the lack of, you tend to play shorter formats. And now I will not blame this to a certain system, but I would say this, it could be because of weather conditions. Our cricket-friendly months across the year in the UAE are very short. Mostly people enjoy T20 cricket. People prefer playing T20 cricket. The UAE team, men's side in particular, they don't play a lot of 50 over cricket. And hence their performance being the way that it is in 50 over games. However, the upcoming, what they have is T20. And hopefully we would be able to see them in a much better stature. But, this is a message that goes out to say, give them more experience with 50 over cricket. They need to know how to spend those 4-5 hours out there in the field. They need to know how much resilience they need to show with the 50 over game. So hence, I think it's the lack of games that they're given to them, and that's a clear indication of why.
Kuruma, I remember discussing with you, but Charvi has hit the nail by saying that the weather. But we have, mashallah, from October till April, we have excellent weather. And the infrastructure, what UAE is blessed with, is better than even, I would say, Afghanistan don't have an infrastructure. Even Bangladesh, I feel.
Agreed. But it's the lack of 50 overs. They don't play so much 50 over.
So
Even
why
if
is
we
that,
look
Kuram, they're
at-
not playing 50 overs?
Yeah.
That's what I want to ask you, Kuram.
I think then from here, I'll go back to my first, interaction with you when you asked me, and I said that there's lack of vision from cricket board. You have to be honest. We sit here, we talk about Indian cricket and we criticize them, Pakistan cricket, we criticize them, Bangladesh, whatever it is. But you have to, I think we have to give I don't want to say blame, but the vision is lacking. We are doing 150 over tournament in the whole year. And
that is the Bukhatir League.
Bukhatir League in Sharjah.
And that happens in the end of summer, right? Rather the beginning of summer.
Yeah, now anyway. So what I'm saying is, if you play 150 over tournament in the whole year, and then how many competitive games you're going to play in that tournament? So, I mean, in same weather, same condition, I've been here 25 years. We used to play 5, 6, 50 over tournaments. You had a team, and it's by, that there has to be tournament, and there were so many good tournaments, quality teams. So I think it has to be a vision from the board, and then the councils have to take it further. They have to at least 150 over tournament each council, at least. And quality tournament where you have minimum number of teams, quality teams, even the board, if they wanted to, distribute good players to them. But you have to have 50 plus overs games there if you want to improve. Cannot blame, as I said, the team, because Charvi nailed it, that it's a lack of practice, and 110%, it's lack of practice. And secondly, there is no game, so you can't practice. Even if the team goes to, Ajman to play a 50-over tournament, before a tournament, they're just playing amongst each other, and it's a friendly game. You bat and I ball, and then I don't think it makes a difference. So it has to be more games, competitive games, and exactly more frequently.
Well, both the captains, Charvi and Khurram, have hit the nail, rather been very upfront in saying that it's a lack of games. And when you are not exposed to games, and when you have an infrastructure like the Dubai, the ICC Academy, the Sharjah Stadium, the Abu Dhabi, and to an extent Ajman, we can always invite teams and play games with the best of weathers available during winter. Nonetheless, we come back again to T20 before we wind up the show. Khurram, 3 teams, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Kuwait. Tougher team out of the lot?
I think Hong Kong, if you keep the records, they are the best of this lot. Singapore, last 5 games they played, they lost, and I don't think Kuwait will have a different result as well. So Hong Kong is the team. I think they have good players, but recent past, honestly, Hong Kong has not been doing very well. So I think a very fair chance for UAE to just sweep through here and go for the next round.
Charvi, according to you, Khurram says it's going to be Hong Kong.
I will back his answer as well. I think Hong Kong is the top side in this particular group. And even though they have not been doing very well, they are a good side. They've qualified for the next level. I think a couple of times they have. They have gone and played Asia Cup, maybe twice, if I'm not mistaken, in the past. So they would, if they've got some players from that squad, the experience will play for them. And no matter, how much we say how skillful a player is or how talented a player is, at the end of the day, in tough situations, it's experience that pulls you out of that and takes you to the other side. So Hong Kong is definitely the tough one. However, we would want, UAE does have a lot of chances to make it. And we would hope to see that, our flag does come down and, it's up there in the stadiums in UAE when the Asia Cup gets played.
Both of them say Hong Kong is the tough team which UAE will probably face in Oman. And mind you, the last game of that league qualifiers is against Hong Kong. So imagine Hong Kong winning 2 games, UAE winning 2 games. So it's as good as a final to qualify for the Asia Cup, Khurram.
Yeah, I think, but taken into that, UAE has been a seasoned cricket. They've been playing very well, and this batch of cricketers, you don't see, only one or two newcomers, and the newcomers are, if you say Aryan Lakra, I mean, he's not new. He's been in the system from under 14, under 16, 19, and then now in the national team. Same thing with the under 19 captain, and Fahad is there as well. So I think it's quite seasoned, and rest of the players, they've been playing for at least 10 years in UAE. So I think these matches you play day in, day out. So one or two pressure games, it's not much, but I think the way they are performing in T20, they have to keep their performances up, and they have to, show that they are good enough to play this Asia Cup.
Charvi, the last match against Hong Kong, as I believe it should be, without taking anything away from Kuwait and Singapore. And we hope UAE will do well. You're banking UAE to beat them?
Hands down, yes. Always in support of the side that you've represented. I'm looking forward to seeing the boys do really well out there. And yes, I think it's going to be a UAE Hong Kong final. The last game is with Hong Kong, so it's going to be like a final. Hoping that UAE would have 2 wins before that. It'll be the battle between the two to see who's going to come through. But backing them, yes, definitely. All our best wishes to the boys.
So, all right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we have these 2 stars of UAE cricket, Khurram Khan as well as Charvi Butt, both captains of their respective men's and women's team. And they are backing UAE, and they hope and they're confident that UAE is going to get past Hong Kong, Kuwait and Singapore and make it to the Asia Cup, which is happening in UAE. And mind you, both of these stars are going to be with us throughout this Asia Cup, which is going to happen once the big boys and the qualifiers are done. So we hope to catch you guys once again. Thank you very much for your time, and looking forward to, seeing you soon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you.